I just want to make a big picture comment that the Affordable Care Act is certainly about more than a website. It's about an issue of great importance, which is about the availability of health care to all Americans. Now, when I saw the title of this hearing, I was pretty interested. I actually have a background in consumer protection, used to work at the Federal Trade Commission. We have worked on identity theft issues. And I was a little baffled, frankly, about why we're doing this in the context of Healthcare.gov and in the Science Committee. That being said, we all acknowledge that there have been some serious technological problems rolling out the Affordable Care Act. But I'm really concerned that some people listening, our constituents, might really be concerned that there are risks involved in enrolling through the website that aren't really there. So I want to clarify a couple of things. First of all, I want to make it clear to our constituents that identity theft is already a Federal crime, that if someone knowingly commits identity theft, that's a Federal crime. If they do it aggravated identity theft, there are enhanced penalties. So I want to make clear that if there is identity theft, that is already against the law. The Department of Justice prosecutes that. The Federal Trade Commission has civil laws dealing with it. So identity theft is an issue we should be concerned about, but I'm baffled about why we're talking about it in the terms of Healthcare.gov. So, Mr. Krush, I want to ask you a couple of questions. First, I want to acknowledge and thank you for your service to this country. I understand, Dr. Ponemon, you're a veteran as well. Thank you for your service. Mr. Krush, you talked about how some people are suggesting that Healthcare.gov is a major target for hackers. Based on your background, your military and cybersecurity background, could you discuss the range of hackers and their different motives, and talk about where Healthcare.gov is on the scale of high payoff targets? And you mentioned this in your testimony, but will you talk about that range just a bit, please?
Yes, actually, it's very interesting in that, we're here on the Committee of Science, Space, and Technology, and I will tell you something from a high payoff target perspective, especially when you're dealing with advanced attackers. The more the nation-sponsored attackers and those even on the criminal organizations, they're after some very specific targets, and I'm not going to go into those, but I will tell you. From a government perspective, in all reality, if you're looking at the .mil and the .gov kind of domains, Healthcare.gov is not really a huge high payoff target. Space systems, technology related to weapon systems, intellectual property stores, information related to clearances, information related to quite possibly not only personal information on a person, but maybe weaknesses such as relationship issues where they could be played on or through blackmail. There's websites that include information on criminals that are actually part of the court systems. Literally, we keep all of this information online now. As you can imagine, from an attacker's perspective, you could literally, not delete the paper, but there's ways that you can get into a system and change an outcome of quite possibly, cases or what actually you have done in the past. So there's lots of high payoff targets.
Thank you so much. I want to follow up a little bit. It's my understanding that we've already established that there aren't medical records on Healthcare.gov, right. And Mr. Gregg confirmed that in response to Representative Edwards' question. Do you agree with that? There are no medical records on Healthcare.gov.
Correct. Those will be with the providers.
And would you agree that there is more personal information in a Federal tax return than there is in a Healthcare.gov insurance application?
I agree.
Mr. Kennedy, do you agree with that?
I do agree.
Mr. Gregg?
I do agree.
Dr. Ponemon?
I agree.
Terrific. Okay, so about 80% of the people in this country file their tax returns online. Mr. Krush, do you file your tax returns online?
I do.
Mr. Gregg, do you file your tax returns online? Dr. Ponemon, do you file your tax returns online?
I'm old-fashioned now.
Mr. Kennedy?
I'm old-fashioned as well.
So
I'm still young.
when you understand that about 80% of the people in this country file their tax returns online, we're talking about security with Healthcare.gov when there's more personal information on a federal tax return. I just want to highlight that, that we're talking about security with Healthcare.gov when the majority of people file their tax returns online. All of you call for third parties to conduct security testing. And the MITRE Corporation, Blue Canopy, and Frontier Security have all been doing that for months. In your opinion, are those companies competent to do the work? Yes or no? Mr. Krush?
Yes.
Mr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mr. Gregg?
Yes.
Dr. Ponemon?
I only have knowledge of MITRE, and the answer is yes.
Thank you. Mr. Krush, to be clear, there have been no cases of a person's identity being stolen through Healthcare.gov at this point. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. I just want to clear that up because the title of the hearing suggests that one of the consequences of signing up through Healthcare.gov is going to be identity theft. So I wanted to clarify that. So my time has expired. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield.
Thank you, Ms.